What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, on this beautiful Monday, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Lou Garofalo and Joey Wright. How's it going, boys? You doing all right?
Yeah, doing good. Sad to see that Paul Rubens passed away. I hate seeing that. Huge
we were talking
influence
a little bit about that before
the
show. I know you mentioned he was a huge influence for you. That was the show my dad and I watched together all the time growing up, was Pee-wee's Playhouse. And just recently had him re-enter my memory banks as he appeared alongside Phil Rosenthal in Somebody or Everybody Feed Phil. But thinking about his family today and all the people that he influenced.
Go out and watch some Pee-wee. He would want that. Like, he was hilarious.
Go watch.
And I put on my Twitter the Live at the Roxy special before he had the kids show. Hysterical stuff. Go check it out.
Some old school Pee-wee. We got Victor in the chat ready for today's show joining us. Hola, bro chachos. It's National Avocado Day. So smash that like button. Maybe an avocado or two. Man, Victor, have you been planning to smash that like button like a year in advance just for National Avocado Day?
Make a little guacamole on that like button.
We got Albert in the chat saying hello, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome.
What up, Albert? Good to see you.
Maria says hi from Rosie. Hi, Rosie. Who's
Hello.
a good girl? Who's a good girl? We've got Scampers in the chat saying hippie. Nope. Yippee-ki-yay, FYFers. What's up, Scampers? Welcome in, my friend.
What up, Scamps?
And Andrew stopping by saying greetings from Phoenix, where today's high temperature is
Rare.
hot in Phoenix. My computer keeps alerting me every single day that it's been record highs here in wherever I am all the time. So I think this year just hates us from a heat perspective.
Yeah, I would not want to live in Phoenix right now. It's hot enough in Maryland.
It's hotter in Phoenix than in San Antonio. That is one place that can out-complain me when it comes to the weather in the summer. I just bow out of that fight. I know where I stand. And Phoenix
the gatekeeper gets gate kept.
The gatekeeper gets gate kept, and I will gladly let Phoenix gatekeep that heat. We got Dave in here saying, hey, everybody. What's up, Dame?
What up, Dame?
And Grim with the sup, guys. What's up, Grim? Glad to have you in here.
What up, Grim?
Also, we got Jay down here saying, I may or may not have a picture of me in Pee Wee Herman PJs when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Well, post that shit up, Jay. We want to see Jay in his little pajamas. We got Tyson in the chat. What's up, Tyson? Welcome,
what up, Tyson?
My friend. And also, Scamper saying hi to Rosie. Hi, Scampers. Hi, Rosie.
Before we get into this game, can we please talk about this Jim Irsay and Jonathan Taylor drama that we've been getting the last few days?
Yeah, absolutely. Give us the update on where it stands currently. But the running back drama this year, they got sick of playing second fiddle to wide receivers in offseason drama, I think. And that Zoom call was like, hey guys, how do we get our numbers up? How do we get more media attention here? Just kidding. It's a bunch of people feeling like they're unfairly treated in the market, and rightfully so, getting together to orchestrate that. But it's a funny joke otherwise. Yeah. Where are we at with Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor had a weird meeting with Jim Irsay this past week in which they left and Jonathan Taylor was requesting to be traded, and all of this random news is coming out of it. It seems like Jonathan Taylor is not going to be a Colt any longer.
Yeah, I believe it was the Colts came out and said there was a back injury and they were putting him on the pup, and then Jonathan Taylor came out and said, there's no back injury. I don't know where you guys are getting your news. So it's a big mess. It's a big, big mess.
I think what we may be seeing with Jonathan Taylor here, we may start seeing more often with these super high caliber running backs. They're seeing now how many touches the league will pay them for, how many years the league will pay them for, how much durability on their body the league will pay them for. And if these guys want a Super Bowl or want to compete at that level while making that kind of money, why the hell would he put another 300 touches on his body for the Colts? You know what I mean? They're not winning anything this year. They're not willing to work out a long-term deal with him, so he doesn't have that incentive going for him. So the last incentive is those career milestones, right? Winning a Super Bowl, playing for a competitive team. Makes sense to me. If he's not going to get paid by the Colts, send him somewhere for one more year where he's at least got a chance to compete before trying to get that payday.
Yeah, I'm with you. For fantasy, does this? I mean, Jonathan Taylor's already knocked down after last year. He's running back 1 going into last season. You guys anticipate he'll fall even farther after this season?
If you're drafting in the first round right now, it's tough to say you would spend a first round pick on him. I mean, I'd rather have Nick Chubb right now knowing that Nick Chubb is going to be on the field and is going to produce really well this season than I would Jonathan Taylor. And Nick Chubb's going at the 1-2 turn. So, yeah.
What's the classic and overstated fantasy advice? You don't win your league in the first round, but you can lose it. But it's actually pretty good advice. You should avoid risk like that in the first round. And Jonathan Taylor saying he's going to hold out, and with like very reasonable cause to do so. There's real risk that we at least miss part of the season from him this year. So I'm not touching him in those first couple of rounds. And then that means I'm not drafting him because somebody will be willing to take on that risk.
Will.
Yeah.
But we had another question in here from Grim to start us off today. I'm sure we'll hit more on some of the Jonathan Taylor and running back talk, but Grim wanted to know a little bit about this Broncos wide receiver core following some sad injury news today. Tim Patrick suffered a season-ending Achilles injury, it looks like. After receiving some hype last year, looking like potentially a post-hype sleeper this year, it may clear some things up in that wide receiver room. Before I throw this question to you guys, I want to welcome in our guest for today's show. Joining us is our great friend Hutchinson Brown. Hutch, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. I'm sorry I jumped in late. I was trying to get it on. I didn't want to text you because I was like really focusing. My computer shut down on me, and I couldn't get it up. But I finally got it up, so I got it.
Joey actually sent someone to your house to sabotage your laptop before the game to make it easier to win. But he made it here in spite of that adversity. Everybody watching, if you do not already know our friend Hutch, you can find him on Twitter at HutchinsonB_FF. He's a fantasy football creator over at Football Guys and DLF and the co-host of the Hooked on Fantasy podcast. Hutch, thank you so much for joining us today. Again.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. What's happening in the comments right now?
Nobody knows.
No idea.
Nobody ever knows.
We did have this question from Grim fan come in. Hutch, I'm going to throw this one to you first as a welcome into the show. Tim Patrick, season-ending injury today, and he was maybe making that wide receiver situation a little bit murkier in Denver. How are you looking at this wide receiver room with the absence of Tim Patrick?
So it's Tim Patrick. I mean, I think it definitely gives a step up to Marvin Mims, one of the rookies that they drafted this year. I think it absolutely gives a benefit to him, stepping in and potentially that number 3 or even number 2 receiver. I have no idea what's going on with Cortland Sutton. Like, we've heard nothing about him, literally nothing. He had a down season last year, down season the year before. We've heard nothing. And it seems like Jerry Jeudy's established himself as number 1. Greg Dulcich's going to be a really valuable option. But then wide receiver 3, it's very confusing. You had Tim Patrick, you had Cortland Sutton, you had Marvin Mims there. And now with Tim Patrick gone, I think this opens up opportunity for Marvin Mims to potentially step up more. So I mean, he was already somebody I was looking for late in drafts. I really like his talent. I think he's a big, explosive kind of player. I'm really looking for him now even more.
Joey, I see you nodding along down there. Are you agreeing with how this impacts the Broncos wide receiver room?
Yeah, our good friend Alfredo Brown is one of the biggest Marvin Mims fans out there. And I tried contacting him today after the Tim Patrick news, and he was like on Do Not Disturb celebrating celebrating Marvin Mims' breakout season. I think it's going to be really good for Marvin Mims. I'm kind of confident in Cortland Sutton as well. I think his draft value has gone down so far because of the back-to-back down seasons, but they weren't horrible seasons. They were still productive, just not at his draft capital where he was going before that. So I do agree with Hutch. They were down seasons, but I think with Tim Patrick out of the mix, I'm not expecting much from KJ Hamler anymore. I think we could see something good out of Cortland Sutton.
We got Jamie stopping by in the chat saying hello, everyone,
up,
and then also popping in just to throw a little rain on the Mims parade, saying Jarvis Landry is a free agent, right? Was with Peyton last season. Maybe you see Jarvis Landry sign there with the Broncos for a late career resurgence. Guys, we brought Hutch here not just to talk about Tim Patrick, but to play a game that we call Fantasy Fortune. It is our take on Wheel of Fortune. And before we get into that, I got a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our guest, make sure you go and do that right now. You can find him on Twitter at HutchinsonB_FF. And subscribe to his Patreon while you're there. It is Clutch Hutch. You can also find the link in his Twitter profile for some of those dynasty rankings and additional fantasy football content from his brain. After you do that, head on back over here where you're watching this show, either on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube or BSN. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell to make sure you never miss any of our shows every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And one more reminder, if you're not sick of us by the end of this hour, myself, Joey, and Tim Wright will be live tonight for Fantasy Football Pub Trivia, where you guys are the contestants. Tim wrote 30 questions for tonight's game.
That's right. You heard that right. That Tim, our Tim.
Tim is running trivia tonight, so those questions could be anything. So stop by, see if you can pull out the W. And he has promised that it's going to shake things up a little bit if you're used to our normal trivia.
I think I'm just going to emphasize the pub part of pub trivia tonight and just drink a lot and hope for the best with the questions. It's multiple choice, though.
Tim.
Yeah, because Tim, I just don't even know.
And we got Tim down here saying study.
Study.
Everyone starts studying now.
One word, all lowercase. Study.
Well, guys, I'm going to pull this game up, explain the rules, and then we are going to go ahead and get started. The game today is Fantasy Fortune, which is a lot like the popular TV show Wheel of Fortune, but obviously with an NFL or fantasy twist. Instead of spinning a wheel, contestants are going to be answering 50-50 NFL or fantasy-related trivia questions. If you get the question right, you're going to get to guess a consonant that you think appears in the puzzle on the screen. For every instance of that letter that shows up, you're going to earn $500 into your round bank. Now, on your turn, you can do this up to 3 times in a row. That is, get a question right, get a consonant right. After that third one is correct, we will move on to the next contestant. You'll have an opportunity to try to solve immediately after, though, as well. Now, during your turn, there are 2 other options you can take at any point before a question has been asked. You can choose to buy a vowel as long as you have a minimum of $500 in your round bank. They'll cost $100 per instance of the vowel that shows up. You can also choose to solve the puzzle if you think you know it. You will bank all of the money you've earned or $1,000, whichever one is higher. Now, if at any point during your turn you get anything wrong, question, letter, your turn is immediately over and we will go on to the next contestant. We're going to go like this till we run out of time, run out of puzzles, or run out of time again because time is an infinite loop, at which point we will end the show and whoever's got the most money is our Fantasy Fortune champion for today. You guys ready?
I think so.
How can we run out of
really
it if
ready
it's an
today.
infinite loop?
I think we got it.
We can run out of time in this loop before it loops back again.
Oh,
It starts
okay.
all over.
For the second lap.
It's an infinite amount of running out of time is what it is. So you're always stressed.
Always have time and also never have time. I gotcha.
Exactly. Well, guys, this first puzzle is going to be nothing like what I just explained to you because this one's going to be a toss-up to determine the order for the rest of the game. It's going to be worth $500. And how this is going to work is I'm going to slowly reveal letters of this NFL player's name.
Yeah,
If you think you know who it is, say your name and buzz in. If you get it right, you'll get to go first during the regular round, and you'll get $500 in your round bank. I'm going to start revealing letters. Get out of the chat, contestants. In chat, put your answers in the chat. Buzz in when you think you know it.
Joey.
Yes, Joey.
Raheem Mostert.
Joey, this is Raheem Mostert. Congratulations, my friend. We avoided talking about him a little bit last week, though I know he was brought up in the chat multiple times. I did want to ask you guys, Joey, I'll start with you since you solved this puzzle. Now with the news that Dalvin Cook is most likely headed to the Jets, what's going on here in this Dolphins backfield? What are you doing for fantasy purposes?
I mean, Mostert turns 32 in the middle of this season coming up. He's 31 right now. That's what happens when you're 31. You eventually do turn 32. I think it just might be the horizon is in front of Mostert now. And I'd rather have Devin Achane and I'd rather have Jeff Wilson than Raheem Mostert. I know he had a good season last year, but with the Dolphins drafting Achane, I think it might just be the end of the road for Mostert.
But he's so fast. He's so fast. Hutch, he's so fast, though. Are you any more optimistic for Raheem Mostert than Joey?
Not really. I kind of agree with Joey that he's probably the third guy in this offense. As a result, I just don't want the third running back on a team. I'd much rather take the shot at Jeff Wilson, who's going in a similar range, or Devon Achane, who's going a bit higher than both those two guys. I just think he's kind of ready to replace Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, and then Jeff Wilson will probably keep around the role he had last year, unless they bring in Dalvin Cook, because then everything changes.
Then it changes everything. Jay down here with the Jeff Wilson greater than all. Jay, are you in agreement with these two guys that Raheem Mostert is the afterthought of these 3 backs in the Dolphins offense?
I think this is exactly why he's a value to me, is that until we see Achane or Jeff Wilson take over, Raheem Mostert is a low risk, high reward bet. Because if he ends up getting more opportunity than we think, or than we're predicting this year, that is highly valuable opportunity on that Miami Dolphins offense. So I think he's worth a shot. I'm not particularly hopeful, but for a late round guy, I'm okay with it.
Joe, I'm with you. Deep league, I've got no desire to overdraft him. But if you can grab him in the last round, he's the perfect kind of guy that you can cut after 1 week if he's not getting the work, right? You don't have to hold on to Mostert like you would a rookie to see if they're going to develop into that role. If they step out week 1 and Mostert gets 1 carry, then to the waiver wire. Gone. Pick up someone else.
Is Mostert the kind of guy you would draft if you did take Devin Achane earlier? Maybe Mostert starts the season off and then Achane gets worked in a little bit as the season goes on.
I don't
that the
mind
kind of tandem you'd want on your team, or
I don't mind that.
I usually don't like drafting two backfield mates on the same team. It usually causes headache. Like usually if you're drafting an ambiguous backfield and you draft both backs, it usually causes a headache for you. I would rather not. I usually like to take a shot at least one of these guys every draft just to have a piece of that Miami backfield because there's going to be a very valuable piece here. I really do believe that at least one of these guys is going to have consistent value, or one of these guys is going to be much better than the other two. I take a shot at one of them every draft. Usually I end up getting Mostert. Achane or Wilson. I don't take many shots at Mostert, but yeah, I just don't want two of them. I feel like that's just going to cause headaches for you.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The ambiguity in the backfield often means you're just trying to decide who to start. Whereas if you grab someone who's a true backup, there's clarity in the guy that you're starting each and every week.
Yeah.
Just make it a little bit easier.
There's no clear backup here. Any three of them could start as like the third guy. So there's not really a point in grabbing a backup.
I don't want anyone to get injured or anything, but if one of them gets really into pickleball and retires, I'm cool with that.
Dustin popping in here saying hashtag Team Joey. Sorry, I'm late. We'll forgive you this time.
I'm already leading, Dustin. I knew you were here.
Yeah.
In spirit.
Yeah.
Andrew in here saying the dumper is a very important position to have on your fantasy team. He's the player you can cut when you need to make a move and don't think twice about it. Raheem Mostert, maybe your ultimate dumper for 2023. It's got some upside, but
Big
you
dumps.
won't think twice about cutting them. How big, JL?
The biggest.
Wow. Raheem Mostert, #1 dumps in the NFL. We're going to move on to puzzle number 2, and Joey is going first on this one since he solved it first. This category is horrible team names. So these are going to be fantasy football team names that I think are horrible. Usually they are a play on a player's name in some way, shape, or form. So this will likely be in the past. We've had it's Ass ETN season and other things like that. That was the only one I could think of in this moment. But in that vein, Joey, you're up first.
I didn't even realize the joke for a second, and then I thought about it. And I realized it. I was like, oh yeah. That's
Hutch,
horrible.
do you need me to explain that one to you? Or
No. You don't need to explain it. I got it now.
Could you explain it to me then? Because I don't get it. No, I'm kidding.
Joey, you are up first in this puzzle.
Question.
Would you like a question?
I would like a question.
Here we go, Joey. What I want to know is who scored more PPR fantasy points last season. If I ask a fantasy points question, they will all be in PPR. Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Chris Olave or was it Deebo Samuel?
Chris Olave.
Chris Olave is correct. Joey, which letter would you like?
What?
R.
R. There is one R
Shoot.
in this puzzle.
Thank
Going to add
goodness.
500 to your round bank.
Question.
You can choose to take another question. You can buy a vowel or you can solve this puzzle. What do you want to do?
You know what? I never buy vowels. Let's buy a vowel.
Okay,
I
which
buy
vowel
an
would
O.
Oh, there are 2 O's in this
Okay.
puzzle. We're going to subtract 200. A reminder to our contestants to have that chat closed, and a reminder to the chat to play along. If you think you solved it, put it in the chat, and we'll shout you out if you get it before everybody on the show. Joey, would you like another question? Or would you like to solve?
I would like another question, please, and thank you.
Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it DeAndre Hopkins or was it Tyler Boyd?
Oh, Hopkins had a really good finish. I'm going to go with Hopkins, even though he played less games.
Joey, I'm sorry. It was Tyler Boyd with more
Boyd was
PPR
good,
fantasy
man.
points.
He's solid.
Which means we are heading on to Hutch now. Hutch, you're up. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like a question. I don't think I could solve that puzzle.
Okay, here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Terry McLaurin or was it Cooper Kupp?
Oh man. I'm gonna go. Kupp did miss 6 games. He was so good when he was on the field. I'm gonna go Kupp. It's close though. I feel like it's really close.
I'm sorry, Hutch. That was Terry McLaurin by about 40 PPR fantasy points.
Wow, really?
He got him good. Terry put together a relatively consistent season, just never really showed up big time in any of the weeks.
Wow.
Which means, John Luke, we're on to you. Would you like a question?
Question.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season, JL? Who had more PPR fantasy points? Was it Brandon Ayuk or was it Deontay Johnson?
Ayuk.
Ayuk is correct, JL. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with the N.
N. There's one N in this puzzle. Going to add 5. Oh, wrong person. Going to add 500 to your round score. What would you like to do here, JL?
I would like to take another question.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Jamal Williams or was it DeAndre Swift?
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams is correct by about 30 points, relatively close there. Which letter would you like, JL?
Let's go with an F.
F. There's one F in this puzzle. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so, or we can move on to your third and final question. Here we go. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season, JL? Who had more PPR fantasy points? Was it Jerick McKinnon or was it Najee Harris?
Najee.
Najee is correct, JL, and a tricky one. You got that one right. Which letter would you like?
What should I go with here? Let's go with an...
Get this right. You bank all this money.
I know. Let's go with an S.
S. There are 2 S's in this puzzle. That's going to put another 1,000 in your bank. I'll give you 5 seconds to solve before we move on to Joey.
Bah. Can't say
That
that one.
is incorrect, which means, Joey, you are up. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve? Or you don't have enough money to buy vowels? So those
I
are
don't have
your
enough.
options.
I'm going to take one of those questions that you wrote.
Okay. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it David Montgomery or was it Rashad White?
Wow, that's tough.
Rashad White.
I'm sorry, Joey. It
was David Montgomery. Yeah.
Which means, Hutch, we are back to you. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve this puzzle?
I'm gonna take a question. I think I have something, but I don't know if it's right.
Well, we'll find out. We got a question and maybe a letter or two up there will help determine if what you got is right. Here's your next question. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Leonard Fournette or was it Ramondre Stevenson?
Oh, that had to be Ramondre.
It did have to be Ramondre.
Yeah,
the Leonard
Ramondre.
Fournette had more than people think he did last season.
He was a top 12 back in PPR, wasn't he?
Sitting there at number 12 in PPR.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Hutch, which letter would you like?
Give me a C.
A C. There are 2 C's in this puzzle. Going to add 1,000. Hutch, you can buy a vowel here. You can solve the puzzle, or you can take your second question.
Okay, I think I actually have it, but I want to wait. I think I know what it is, but actually no. I'm just gonna guess it because if I get a question wrong, I'm gonna screw it up. I know I can see very quickly it's a movie reference. I just don't know what the first name is. Oh shoot, someone's calling me. Whoops, sorry about that.
No worries. You gonna solve or are you gonna take that next question?
I'm gonna solve it. I'm just gonna take a shot because I know what the movie is. It's a movie. I know this. I'm gonna go. I don't think this pun really works, but I'm gonna try CJ. So it's not CJ, but Stroudley with a chance of meatballs.
Say that one more time.
Stroudley with a chance of meatballs. I know that's Clyde with a chance of meatballs. I just watched that movie 2 nights ago. I recognized it.
Hutch, I am so sorry, but that is incorrect, which means
No.
we are going to move on to the next contestant.
I really thought I recognized with the chance of meatballs. Shoot, okay.
Which means JL, we are on to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I had it right now.
I don't know if we just mispronounced it.
Yeah, because it works. It's right there.
No, it does, but
This is all one team name, Simon, not 3 team names, right?
This is one team name.
Okay.
It has to be that. It has.
Can I guess then? Can I just completely rip off Hutch here because I had
Sure.
no idea what this was? Stroudy with a chance of meatballs.
JL, that is also incorrect, which
Damn
means
it.
we are going to move on to Joey. Joey, do you want
Try
to
it
try
again,
to
Joe.
solve this or do you want a question?
I'm gonna solve it
Okay.
just because I want to say it. Stroudy with a chance of Nico balls. they're both on the
with
Texans?
chance of Nico balls is incorrect,
Nico
which means
balls.
Hutch,
Damn it.
your guess cost
Okay.
you nothing. We are back to you.
It was
Would you like
okay,
a question or would you like to
okay, I'm
solve?
saying
What's
it-
happening?
I feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm gonna say it again. Stroudy, not Stroudly. I said Stroudly last time. Stroudy with a chance of meatballs.
That's what I
I'm
said.
sorry, but that is incorrect,
What?
which
Dude, that's
means
what
we
Joe-
are
all
on
right.
to
That's
JL.
what he said.
Just give me a question.
Okay,
think
here
you
is a
said that.
question
Oh my
for
goodness.
JL. You guys are going to be so mad at me when you see the answer to this puzzle.
What is this?
JL, who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Miles Sanders or was it AJ Dillon?
Sanders.
Sanders is correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an H.
H. There are two H's in this
Come on,
puzzle. Going to
come on,
add
guys.
1,000. Joe, would you like another question? Would you like to solve or would you like to buy a vowel?
I would like to buy a vowel, please.
Okay, what would you like to buy?
Wait, also, didn't I have money in my normal bank?
Oh yeah, 2,000 of that should have been down there. I'll fix that.
I would like to buy a vowel, and I would like to buy an A.
An A. There are 3 A's in
Okay,
this
that's
puzzle.
where we all
Gonna
thought they were.
subtract
Wait,
300.
wait.
All right,
Joe?
so
Would you like question number 2? Would you like to buy another vowel or would you like to solve?
okay, let's go with. Can I buy an E?
You can buy an E, JL. There
Oh,
are
I
1,
knew it.
2, 3 E's in this puzzle. We're going to subtract another 300,
Oh.
which means you cannot buy any more vowels. You can take a question or you can solve.
Wait.
I'll take a question.
Okay. My question for you, JL, is who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Who scored more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Damian Pierce or was it James Conner?
Oh.
Damian Pierce.
I am sorry, JL. It was
No.
James Conner, which means this is on to Joey. Joe, would you like to
Oh,
solve or
man.
would you like a question?
I thought I had it, and then I saw the F was already taken. So I'm gonna take
No,
a
I've got it.
question.
Fair
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. My question for you, Joey, is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Brian Robinson Jr. or was it Tyler Algier?
Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier is correct. No hesitation. Which letter would you like, Joey?
Yeah. I'm gonna take the T and hope
T.
there's at least 2. Okay.
There's 2 T's in this puzzle. Joey, you can buy a vowel if you would like to do so. You can take another question or you can solve.
Heck, what's that word?
Now I'm gonna
Know it.
man. I'm gonna take a question.
Okay. My question for you, Joey, is who had more PPR fantasy points last season? The aforementioned Jeff Wilson Jr. or Khalil Herbert?
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson is correct. Which letter would you like, Joey? Hutchinson
L.
waits up there.
Yeah, I know it.
There
I
are
know
2 L's. Going to add
Very
another
confident.
grand. Joey, this is your last
Very
opportunity to
confident
buy
right now.
vowels if you would like to do so. Otherwise, we'll move into your third and final question.
Very
Inching
confident.
ever so close.
I'm
To the
gonna
end of your
take
turn.
another question.
Okay, your third question. Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Who had more PPR fantasy points last season? Was it Kenneth Gainwell or was it Kareem Hunt?
God, Simon, you're an asshole for
Yeah,
asking
that
that
was
question.
terrible. I'm
That
so
one
sorry
sucked.
for that question.
Jeez.
That's
Okay, one more
terrible.
time. Kareem Hunt or Kenneth Gainwell?
Those were the 2 names I said.
I'm gonna go Gainwell.
I'm a real dick, Joey. That is incorrect. It was
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, but I asked it, and that's how the
Okay.
game works, which means Hutch,
It's all
we're
right.
on to
I'm
you.
gonna solve the puzzle. Is that okay?
I hope so. Let's hear it.
This better be right. If it's not right, I'm gonna be really mad. I'm very confident it's still Stroudy. Stroudy with a chance of deep balls.
Hutch, this is Stroudy with a chance of deep
God.
balls is
Much
what this
better.
is.
That's
Nice
so
job.
much
That's going to
better.
earn you $1,000 into your round bank.
Well done.
And I wanted to
man.
ask you guys about CJ Stroud going into the season. He was considered by some
That
to be the
was
most
so annoying.
pro-ready passer, but he's entering a Texans offense with, I don't know, nobody to throw the ball to. Hutch, do you have any optimism for CJ Stroud as a rookie for fantasy purposes?
Honestly, for his fantasy football value, not tons. I mean, as a QB2, I think it's all right because he can run the ball really well. He did not much in college. We saw flashes of it, but not really. But in high school, if you look at his rushing tape, he really can run. And even in college, in those some flashes, he can run. If he finds that with the Texans, if he finds a way to run the football and get a few hundred yards this year, he can be a really solid QB2 for you. I just don't like with the two running backs they have in Singletary and with Pierce and with the coaching staff they have with the defensive upgrades. I think this could be a run first kind of offense that tries to play good defense. I mean, D'Amico Ryans, especially as the head coach with the coming as the DC from San Francisco, like this is a team that's not going to throw the ball a ton, especially with the receiving core. So CJ Stroud is someone that I'm not looking for. Honestly, I don't really draft him much. Even as a QB2, I'm not really looking for him. There's usually other guys around him that I like a little bit better personally. So I don't have tons and tons of optimism for him. No, not really, actually.
JL.
Future, yes. Future, I love CJ Stroud, but this year it doesn't look like there's gonna be tons of opportunity for him.
JL, outside of super flex leagues, are you drafting Stroud at all this year? Maybe as does he have potential upside like those late round QBs that have been drafted in past, or is this just a pad offense with a rookie quarterback and you're avoiding?
Even if he has upside, it's going to take more than just some upside to make him worth drafting and holding on at the beginning of the season. Those spots on your bench are so valuable in the start of the season because we think about it. We don't have really any new data from after last season ended, right? There's no other performance data. Everything else has just been us predicting or information we've gotten from camp. And so a lot of that's going to get flushed out in the first few weeks. And I would not be wasting that in a one quarterback league with CJ Stroud.
He hasn't even officially been named the starter yet. The coaching staff has been hesitant to name him the starter over Davis Mills. And last report I saw, they were still splitting first team reps at practice. Now I fully expect Stroud to be the starter come week 1, but that's not a good sign. That doesn't make me bump him up my list. That's not the camp report that makes me bump him up a little bit. Whereas like guys like Bryce Young, reports are coming out. He's a leader in the locker room. It's like you're getting reports like that, and maybe it builds a little bit of hype whenever you hear his teammates come out in defense of him. The chat was on this one. Oh, go ahead, Hutch.
One thing I think the one thing you got to say with Stroud is like when you talk about first team reps, I feel like the coaches are just playing tough ball with him. I don't think it's anything towards him necessarily. I think the coaches are really just playing old school tough football with him. It's really stupid, honestly. I really don't get it. Get the guy the first team reps because he's gonna be your starter week 1. He could be on the second team. He can punt it every time he gets the ball. He's gonna start week 1. It doesn't matter. He's your second overall pick. He's gonna start. You should get him first team reps with your wide receivers, with Dalton Schultz, with your first team running backs. That's how I personally feel. I just think he should be getting the reps, but I don't think it's a harm towards him. I really just think it's like the coach is being tough on him, saying earn your spot. I'm not really concerned with Stroud on that.
It always blows my mind when coaches apply pressure in ways that harm the team. Know what I mean? Like they committed to CJ Stroud as being their starting quarterback when they drafted him where they drafted him, right?
Yeah.
Like they drafted him there. He has to be the starting quarterback. There's no need for the theatrics of making him earn his spot. Apply the pressure elsewhere. Get him all of the reps that you possibly can in the preseason. Those are valuable.
Absolutely.
Those are limited. It's going to be real game action by the time you know it, where each week is spent preparing for the next opponent instead of those just valuable off-season practices. Albert was so close, came in around the same time as you, Hutch, with Stroudy with a chance of meatballs.
You should. I because I knew people would put comments like answers to the comments, so I've like put my Google tab over the side, so I can't see comments. But that's really good that you got it. Did you get it before me or after?
He almost got it. He got meatballs, didn't quite get it right. Then Dustin came in and got it with the deep balls. And Scott Fish said, "Didn't Joey say Nico balls?" Indeed, he did.
I did. Nico balls.
And that's not the first time Nico balls has been said on our show. Jail a little quiet up there, but very smiley.
It's not?
No, I think you were gone that day, though.
Wow.
Scampers and you said, "Oh no, Hutch, so close on that one." And the guy buddy was so close. Finally, it came back to you though, and you ended up winning that puzzle out. Well, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next puzzle here. It's a pretty close game for everyone in this one. $1,000 for Hutch,
for this one, Simon.
$2,000 for JL, and $500 for Joey. Puzzle number 3 is everyone's favorite category, run time. This is going to rhyme. It could be something like playing clarinet with Jacoby Brissett or romantic weekend in France with Trey Lance. It'll involve a player name and a rhyme, but the rest of the words could be anything. Hutch solved that one, which means John Luke, you are up first in this puzzle. Would you like a question or would you like to solve?
Yeehaw! Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. What I want to know, John Luke, is according to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Never mind. I hate that question. What I want to know is who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Miles Sanders or was it Kenneth Walker?
Rushing yards. Ooh, I'll go with Kenneth Walker.
JL, I'm sorry. Miles Sanders was number 5 in rushing yards last season.
Dang.
Continued to kill it, which means, Joey, we are on to you. Joey, would you like a question or would you like to solve?
I actually say something nice about my haircut, but I'd like a question, please.
Joey, your hair looks phenomenal.
No, I had to ask you, so it doesn't mean anything. Go ahead. Question.
I complimented your haircut earlier on a meeting. I will not give into the villain role for the theatrics of the show. You look so handsome, Joey. Joey,
there's a storm going on outside my house. Go ahead.
Here's your question. Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Ramondre Stevenson or was it Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin Cook.
It was Dalvin Cook, Joey. Nice job. Which letter would you like?
R.
R. Joey, there are 2 R's in this puzzle. We're going to add $1,000 to your round bank. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like another question?
Oh, I know it.
I want a question.
Another question. Also, we got Bob Harris in the chat. What's up, Bob? Saying I'm old and mean and I don't like anything, yet I still smash the like button.
Let's go.
Is that damn good?
True.
What's up, Bob?
Thanks, Bob. Man. What up, Bob? Good to see you, my friend. Oh, that was a soft eagle. That was not an eagle scream. That was something different.
That Eagles had a rough week, man. That Eagles tired.
Yeah.
Joey, question number 2.
Gracious.
Yep. Question number 2, please.
Who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Austin Eckler or was it Travis Etienne Jr.?
Oh.
I know Austin Eckler had more receiving yards. I am going to go Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne is correct, Joey. Which letter would you like?
I'll go with a T for Tom.
Whoa. There are 6 T's in this puzzle, adding $3,000 to your round score, Joey. You are rich. There's a bunch of different ways you can pronounce it depending on the language. Joey, what are you going to do? You going to buy a vowel?
I would like to solve.
Okay. If you can solve, do it.
Eating peanut brittle with George Kittle.
Joey.
Whoa!
That is incorrect. I'm so sorry, which means we are moving on to Hutch.
Oh, wow.
How is that wrong?
That's such a good guess.
Oh my God. You were so convinced. We were all so convinced.
I know what it is now.
I thought that was it.
The absence of a T in the first word might tip you off to that not being correct, which means Hutch, we are on to you. Would you like a question? Would you like to solve?
Yeah. A question. I have.
Okay.
I don't think I want to do it.
My question for you is: who had more rushing yards last season? Who had more rushing yards last season? Was it Najee Harris or was it David Montgomery?
Oh man. Man, that's actually tough. Najee. Najee.
Najee is correct. Which letter would you like, Hutch?
Give me a K.
A K.
Yeah.
There are 2 Ks in this puzzle. We're going to add $1,000 to your round bank.
I'm going to solve it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Making peanut brittle with George Kittle.
Hutch, this is making peanut brittle with George Kittle. You're not eating it. Well, you might be later, but right now you're making peanut brittle with George Kittle.
Yeah.
Joey.
Nice solve, Hutch. You and you alone solved that puzzle.
Very much on my own, yeah. I knew the first word when I heard him saying eating and then it wasn't right. I was like, it has to be making then. And then
baking. I thought it was baking. Yeah. Do you bake peanut brittle?
You can make, yeah.
How do you make peanut brittle? What is peanut brittle?
With George Kittle.
I've never had peanut brittle.
Peanut brittle is like if
I have.
peanuts were surrounded by peanut juice and then that got hard.
That got left out and got
And
hard.
then exactly, that's peanut brittle and it's delicious. Andrew Downey saying the regret in Joey's face is something I won't forget. I'm gonna let Joey recover
We all
from this
thought
one
he
for a
had
second.
it, man. Like that was an amazing guess. We all
remember-
thought you had it. It was like, nope.
Remember Najee, Risky Business? Remember that one?
Yeah.
This is right up there with that for me.
It's up there. Joey, the best part about
Yeah.
this one is you did all the hard parts of solving it. Like you got the trick, the puzzle, but none of the credit. While you're recovering from that, I'm going to throw this question to JL first. JL, George Kittle has all the
What's my
talent.
score? I can't see
in-
my score because of your name.
I'll adjust my name down there in a second to make sure we can see it.
Okay.
JL, George Kittle is consistently one of the most talented tight ends in the league. Whenever you watch him play, there's no question there. But there's a lot of bodies on that team that demand passes. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. How does that play into George Kittle versus the other top tight end talents like Kelsey, Andrews, and Hawkinson?
I think it plays out similarly to what we've seen in previous years. I'm not expecting a big shift either direction for George Kittle. I think the biggest uncertainty in the situation is, of course, this quarterback situation. Is it going to be Purdy? Is it going to be Lance? And that is a bigger question for me than the competition in that offense. I see that competition as relatively stable.
Yeah. Joey, do you agree with JL's take here on George Kittle's position in the tight end landscape?
I'm still recovering.
Okay.
No, yeah.
We'll wait.
No, I mean, I think Kittle, when he's on the field, he's one of the best tight ends in the game. And the problem is he's just not on the field as much as we'd like to see him. That offense in San Francisco is dynamite. He's a big part of it. If he's healthy, he's a top 4 tight end.
Hutch, are you buying into the connection we saw between him and Brock Purdy at the end of last season? 7 of his 11 touchdowns came in that stretch with Purdy at the end. Do you think that continues if Purdy's the starter this year?
Honestly, I'm fully in on Kittle being the star. I mean, not Kittle, Purdy being the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers this year. All the camp reports have said so. He looks healthy. He's not on the pup. Like, he is looking good to go for the season. I think he's going to start week 1. I think he's going to start the full season as long as he's playing. And they had a really good relationship down the stretch. I mean, he was earning a good target share. The only problem is down the stretch, Kittle was getting an obscene amount of touchdowns. The amount of touchdowns that Kittle was scoring was just not sustainable in that stretch. So I think Kittle, with the competition around him and with the fact that this is a really, really good team that plays good defense and runs the football, the passing volume is going to be limited. And as we said, there's a lot of competition. I think the volume will be inconsistent. As a result, he may be a bit touchdown dependent. But he's one of the best tight ends in the game. As Joey said, he's going to be a top 5 fantasy tight end as long as he's healthy. He's just that good of a player. He might be inconsistent, but he's got to have some big games for you. So his ADP is fine to me. Usually there's just wide receivers and running backs in that range that I just really like. So I end up not drafting Kittle much, but he's somebody that's definitely worth drafting. His ADP. He's all right.
We got Bob Harrison here saying, "Thank you, Joey. #Eagle sigh."
Eagle sigh.
We got the Eagle scream
Sometimes,
and the Eagle sigh.
Sometimes that eagle is very virile and strong and let's go. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a little whimper, you know? Sometimes he doesn't have it all in him.
Well, guys, we're gonna move on to our next puzzle here. Make sure we got time for a couple more. This one is going to be a TV show player mashup. So in the past, we've had Tim, Patrick, and Morty, something like that. For a movie mashup, we've had Boston Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So it's going to take a TV show and a player and smush their name together with varying degrees of success depending on the level of creativity I decided to apply to this puzzle this morning. Hutch solved that one as well, correct? Which means, JL, you're going to get to go first again on this one. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like to solve it, but I can't, so I will take a question.
Well, here's your question. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Tyler Lockett or was it Travis Kelce?
Receiving touchdowns?
Receiving yards.
Receiving yards. Travis Kelce or Lockett. I'll go with Kelce.
Kelce is correct, JL. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with an N.
An N. There's one N in this puzzle that's going to add 500 to your score. What would you like to do next, Joe?
I'll take another question.
Okay. We're going to stick in receiving yards. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Amon-Ra St. Brown or was it Jamar Chase?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
JL, that one was
Bro.
close, but you got it correct. Which
Ooh.
letter would you like?
Phew. All right, let's go with an F.
An F. Well, JL,
So
there are
weird pick.
3 Fs in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500 to your round score. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels if you would like to do so. You can take your
That's
third
not
and final
bad.
question, or you can stall.
Ooh, tempted to stall, but
Oh,
I'll buy a vowel. I'll buy a vowel.
I meant to say solve, but I guess stall is always an option in this game. Which vowel would you like, JL?
I'll take an O.
An O. Oh, man, there were 2 of them. What would you like to do now?
I'll take. Can I buy an E?
Yes, you can. There are 4 E's. Going to subtract an additional 400.
Oh boy.
John Luke, your
I'll
options
take the
remain the
question.
same. Question number 3, your final question. Get this right and get the letter right. You're going to bank this. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it DJ Moore or was it Christian Kirk?
Ooh, I don't think the Panthers had many receiving yards. Maybe they did. It was DJ Moore or Christian Kirk. I'll go with DJ Moore.
JL, I am sorry. Your inclination was right. Not much to go around there in the Panthers offense. It
No.
was Christian Kirk, the $20 million man in that one, which means, Joey, we're on to you. Would you like to solve or would you like a question?
I got a good portion of this puzzle here, but I'm going to take a question.
Okay, my question for you is who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Mark Andrews or was it T. Higgins?
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins is correct, Joey. Which letter would you like?
The R.
The R. There is one of the R's in there. That's going to have 500 to your round bank. Would you like another question? Would you like to solve or would you like to buy a vowel?
I like to buy a vowel.
Okay, let's hear it.
You.
There is one U in this puzzle, Joey.
Question, please.
Okay, question number 2 coming your way. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season? Was it Evan Ingram or was it Juju Smith-Schuster?
Evan Ingram did not have 1,000 yards last year. Did Juju? I don't think he did either. No. I'm still going to go with Juju, though.
He didn't have 1,000, but he was a hell of a lot closer than Evan Ingram was. You are correct, Joey. Which letter?
I didn't like the way you phrased that, to be honest with you. I'll take the T.
T. Well, there are 3, 4 T's in this puzzle, Joey. That's going to add $2,000, and you've got 5 seconds to solve before we move on to Hutch.
I didn't get all 3 of my questions right.
Didn't you?
Okay, I did. I think that
Did you not?
just
Was
2.
that question number 2? All right, then we have question number 3 coming your way. Unless you would like to solve.
I want to buy. Yeah, I want to buy an I.
An I?
Please be wrong.
Yeah.
There are no I's in this puzzle, which means we move on to Hutch. With $2,400 sitting in his round bank, his turn is over. Hutch, would you like to solve this puzzle or would you like a question?
I would like a question. I'm just letting you know I don't think I know this show. I don't think I know it, but just give me a question. I'm going to try.
Here is your question. Who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more receiving yards last season?
Hey.
Was it DK Metcalf or was it Michael Pittman Jr.?
Oh, God, I got it.
Oh, man. Give me Metcalf.
And Metcalf would be correct. Which letter would you like, Hutch?
Shoot. I can't buy a vowel.
I got it.
Oh, my goodness.
I should have bought the A.
Yeah, I feel like the A is going to give me a lot of hints. I need to get this letter right.
You should get a wrong Hutch.
Sure. S is a common letter. I'm going to try S. I don't know
S?
though.
There is one S in this puzzle. Hutch going to add
Okay.
500. Would you like to solve? Would you like another question?
No, give me the A. I wanna
The
buy
A.
Give me
There
the
are
A.
2 A's in this puzzle, and that is all of the vowels. You can now choose to take another question or you can solve this puzzle.
Give me another question. I don't know it. I don't know this show, guys. I don't understand this. Give me another question.
Well, my
know
question
this
for
is-
you,
This is good. This is good.
my question for you is: who had more receiving yards last season? Who had more
Okay.
receiving yards? Was it Drake London or was it Keenan Allen?
Oh my goodness, that's brutal. Oh my god. Oh man, Lord have mercy. Drake London.
Drake London is correct. Which letter would you like?
Be creative. Joe.
What's it gonna be?
M.
M. There is one M in this
Ugh.
puzzle. Hutch, your
Okay,
options remain the same.
Okay. I know. Okay. He left. Yeah, left. Oh.
If he's not back in time,
Okay. Give me another question. Give me another question.
Okay, this is your third and final question.
Yes,
Hutch.
I know that.
If you get this right, you will bank this money. Which of these players had more receiving yards last season? Which of these players had more receiving yards last season? Was it Garrett Wilson or was it Gabe Davis?
Oh, that was definitely Garrett Wilson.
By less than I expected, it was Garrett Wilson. Gabe Davis
Yeah.
showing up a bit last year. Hutch, which letter would you like?
Okay. Well, I know.
I'm gonna need a letter. What's it gonna be?
Yeah. Oh man, give me a W. I'm gonna
A
try to see if I can
W.
get that first word. I know
There
yeah,
are
okay.
2 W's. Hutch, you're gonna bank this money, but you've got 5
Oh,
seconds
okay.
to
Wheel
solve.
of. Okay, I solve it. Solve it. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna solve it. Wheel of Matthew Staff Fortune.
This is Wheel of Matthew
Yeah.
Staff Fortune.
Okay.
Hutch, you are going to
I know. I
bank
thought I
that
didn't know the
money.
show because I thought Wheel of Fortune. I thought Wheel of Fortune, and I was like, wait. I didn't think I had eliminated Wheel of Fortune in my mind in the beginning because I saw different letters that didn't line up, and I completely eliminated it from my head. But then I saw it. I was like, oh, that has to be okay.
The
yeah.
chat was
I
cracking
do
up.
know the show.
Misery
Dude,
says
I
he's
didn't
on
look at the
show.
chat.
He
I did
doesn't
not
know.
look at the chat because I don't look at the chat, man. I don't.
And Twin Down,
know.
he's saying he doesn't know the show he's playing. You had him dying down there, but Hutch, it doesn't matter because you got
man.
off
I
getting
didn't
the
get it.
points on that one and pulling
That was
out
amazing.
the
Yeah, I got
victory.
eliminated completely.
Hutch, I want to thank you
Right.
so much for taking the time to come and stream with us and play some Fantasy Fortune today.
Thank you guys for having me. That was fun. I can't believe I
So bad. I did not expect my day to be ruined.
Oh man.
This entire game, it seemed like just event after event after event was perfectly orchestrated to piss the contestants off, just over and over and over again.
Yeah.
One
and
of the
you
most,
were the common denominator.
and
Simon.
I orchestrated the
Yes.
entire event. It was all on me.
Mhm.
Guys, that is going to be it for us today. If you are not already following our friend Hutch, you need to go and fix that right
Do it.
now. You can find him on Twitter at HutchinsonB_FF. It's right there below his face on the screen, or it's in the bottom of this YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube, on the BSN channel, or at Front Yard Fantasy. We will be back tonight. Hopefully Joey recovers before trivia tonight for some fantasy football pub trivia. But until then, we are out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. We'll see y'all on another time.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.